Here are your Thursday thoughts from the parenting trenches. So we've been talking a lot about sleep on the podcast, in the newsletter, on TikTok, wherever we are this week, we've been talking a lot about sleep. And I really want to specifically address sleep for kids today, because I think this is one of those areas that I have seen, at least, both as a parent and as a professional working with parents, that people can get really confused and really upset and really feel one way or the other strongly about this process. So one, I want to start out with the very most important thing is that you're sleeping. You, your kids, all of it. Sleep, if I haven't addressed it enough already, is so important as nutrition in our lives. So sleep, any way, anyhow, any time and place you can. Two, there is no one right way to teach your children to sleep. For mine, I have 3 different kids. I have 3 different ways of doing it. Some of which I learned didn't work the hard way. Some of which I learned did work because the kid made it work, and some was different depending on the time and place and when they were born and what order and all of those things, and ultimately their personalities. My first one was a little more classically trained. We tried sleep training and we amended the way of sleep training, and I want to tell you that story because I want you to know that's what I'm getting at, is that you might be in a place where you're like, I don't know what to do. They're in my bed all night, or they're babies and they're crying all night, or whatever the case may be, wherever you find yourself with sleep. Your first instinct probably is to look outside, find a professional, find a sleep trainer, read a book, go to a YouTube video, any of those things. And there's some great resources out there. I'm here to tell you, try not to get caught in thinking that there's one way to do it, and that if it's not working for you, then you must be doing it wrong. And I want to caution you away from the other extreme, was that in thinking if anything is uncomfortable at all, then it's not for us. I'm here to tell you, sleep training has a million different variations and can look completely different from kid to kid and from household to household. And none of them are wrong. I'm also here to tell you it's nearly impossible to teach a kid to sleep with zero discomfort. I say nearly impossible because I did have one baby who just slept, just passed out early days, and I didn't get as much sleep because I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it never did. They were just a sleeper. But I have 3 kids, and only one of those was true. And then the one that came after didn't do anything for 2 years except cry all night long. So there are those kids out there that sleep with no problem and that you don't need to do anything for. But for most, it requires some kind of routine and sleep training, and it's probably going to require some discomfort on your part. That said, if you are feeling overwhelmed by the discomfort or overwhelmed by the anxiety or worry that your baby is feeling overwhelmed by the discomfort, stop. It is not meant to be a traumatic experience. It might be a little uncomfortable to listen to a baby cry. It might be a little uncomfortable for the first couple of days for the baby to cry. But if the baby is crying so much so that you are not getting any sleep and that you don't feel like anything's changing for days, weeks, whatever, then you're not doing anything wrong. This is the wrong thing for you and your child. So essentially what I'm telling you here is sleep is of utmost importance. As somebody who has been in the trenches of parenting and trying to learn how to sleep again, I can tell you there is some level of discomfort in the process. And I can tell you, you know when to change and move and adapt because you know your child best. Even if an expert tells you something different, you know what's best for you and your family. So instead of the extremes of I'm going to sleep train no matter what, no matter how awful everybody feels, or I'm not going to do anything and this baby's going to be in my bed till he goes to college, there is middle ground, and you and your partner and the baby, child, human, you guys get to decide what that looks like for you. Nobody else knows exactly how to do it. So if you can tune out the noise of outside and tune in to how you and your family are functioning best, that's when you're going to figure out how everybody gets a good night's sleep. You got this. Those are your tips from the trenches for this Thursday. See you next week.